What's up, everybody? Got here another water deck. It's not really a water deck. It's just really a control deck. This is Pacifis. Welcome to Pacifis. So if you're a degenerate, if you like water monsters and water decks, if you like pissing off people, if you like losing friends, man, I got a deck for you. This is Pacifis Control. Let's get into it. So I played this deck for quite a while now. I like this deck a lot. That says a lot about me, huh? So this is the main field spell. We play 3. Have to play 3. This is how you get the deck going. Pacifist Control is cat hair. Pacifist Control is basically bring out a token, bring out your level 4 vanilla, and you basically just stop your opponent from doing anything. Popping cards, negates, negating activations. That's what it is, you know. That's all Pacifist is. And this is what gets us our token, and this is what loses our friends. So we play 3 field spells. Play terraforming, so we play 4. Play demise of the land because I've heard that other decks special summon. So if they do, that rare deck you face that special summons, well, we get ourselves a demise of the land, a metaverse. So we get another one, and then we get 2 planet fast finders. We're not too dependent on our normal summon, so it's worth putting 2 of them in there because we need to see Pacifist. You have to see Pacifist in your opening turn. This is a going first deck, so you have to see this thing out. So yeah, so we play this many. Next, our draw monsters or a monster. All we play is YuGiOh. This is our only monster besides Pathfinder. This is our vanilla. This is our level 4 water beater, 2k attack, and it's a water. It has to be a water. We'll explain why, but it has to be a water. And I play 9 of them. 9. So I don't recommend playing 9. I recommend playing 6. I recommend playing the YuGiOh and the fossil digs. I play the unexpected die because I have a friend of mine who figured out how the deck works. He figured out the weakness to it, and because of that, I had to put out a turbo to make sure I open up with YuGiOh. So I have 9 different ways, and yeah, these cards can become dead, you know, in your hand once you get your YuGiOhs out. But hopefully, you've gained an advantage, you know, to the point at which it's all right. You know, you're up. You've already stopped your opponent. He's mad. You're happy. You laugh at his misery, and then you just win. That's what you do. You just swing and win. So I go heavy because I need to see YuGiOh Smasher. Because when your opponent finds out the weakness, you're gonna need something on the field out. You'll need something. But other than that, though, if you're going locals and like people just don't know how this deck works, people just don't know how Pacifist works. I mean, take out Unexpected Die and run, you know, these 6. You know, that's what I recommend for sure. So I play 9 to make sure he comes out. Next, and that's it. That's our field spell, and that's our monsters. So now we do our draw power. Upstart, because 39 cards is better than playing 40 cards. Card demise, ouch, we got hit with that. You know, it sucks that it's at 1 now. But if it comes back, guarantee we're gonna run 3. You know, we draw until we have 3 cards in our hands. At the end phase, we discard entire hand, but it's okay because this kind of deck we're okay with discarding hand. We simply activate this field spell, set a bunch of cards, maybe do a normal summon, and then we draw 3. You know, our hand's empty, we draw 3, and then we set what we want, set what we need, and then we move on from there. The drawback from the card is that your opponent suffers no battle damage, so make sure that when you do this, and it's not turn 1, do the main phase 2, because you're allowed to conduct your battle phase, swing for damage, and then main phase 2 go into this, unless you really need that draw immediately. You know, like maybe try and get that field spell or etc. Poly Duality, we don't special summon much at all. We don't. But remember, we can't special summon the turn we do this. You know, it's not like Hard Demise. You can't do this main phase 2 after you've already got a token. If you did a token, it's special summon, and you can't activate Poly Duality. Same as if you got the token already. Can't activate Poly Duality, can't do Poly Duality, and then the token. So but it's worth it. It's definitely 100% worth it. So Poly Duality, talk Poly Duality, and that's our draw power. You know, there's a little bit of draw, and not much. But next, our Floodgates. We play the Mental Fisher because we do not need the graveyard. We play Macrocosmos because we don't need the graveyard. Most decks do. They suffer. So we don't mind playing. I don't mind playing one of each. Yep. I mean, they really speak for themselves, really. Next, we play our kind of deck relevant negation / interruption. We play Phantasm, Spiral Battle, 3 of them, and I play 1 Spiral Power. You can play more if you want, if you know for sure you're gonna be up against a monster heavy deck. But what Battle says is that if you control nothing but normal monsters, which the token and our vanilla counts as normal monsters, we can target a card and destroy it. It does target, which sucks, but at least it's a card. It doesn't have to be a monster, it doesn't have to be a spell or trap, and we target, we destroy it. And the cool thing about this card is that if we control Umi, which Pacifis is counted as Umi, we can activate this from our hand. So this essentially becomes a hand trap, which is great. You know, we set a lot of back row, so to have something in our hand that we can use this for is pretty great. So this is one of the ways we just basically go no to our opponent. They normal summon, no, pop. You know, set a card, pop, and we just pray it's not waking the dragon. You know, other than that though, this is just one of the ways we just, and this comes to our hand easily through Pacifis. But we'll get into that later. We'll get into like really how the deck function and work at the end. We're just kind of getting into the deck profile right now. So Spiral Power. Power says that this is like our imperm for the deck. What it says is that if all the monsters we control normal monsters, which the token and the the level 4 vanilla is, we can target effect monster that they control and then negates the effect for the turn. And also they lose 1,000 attack and defense. So once again, we have Pacifist, it becomes a hand trap. You activate from the hand. But if let's just say it happens sometimes, you don't open up with the field spell, you can at least normal this, set these, and then they're live on the next turn. So at least they are accessible. So you don't have to have Umi, but they're just way better with it. And then our opponent normal summons, we pop it. They special summon something and we want to negate the effect, we activate power. Or during calculation, they attack with something probably with a maybe 2,500 attack, boom. Spiral Power, and we save our Megalo Smasher. So that's that. Then we have our more Floodgates. They can only be 1. And Megalo is a dino, and our token is a worm. So we don't really get hurt by the only be 1. Sure, you can get 2 Megalos out there, but it hurts them way more than it hurts us. So it's definitely worth playing 2. I don't play 3 because I just don't want to see too many of them. I don't like dead cards in my hand as best as I can. So we play 2. Also, another way we lose friends, skill drain. We don't need effect monsters. We don't want effect monsters. So boom, skill drain, no effects allowed. And that hurts our opponent big time. Helps us pay 1,000 life points, and that becomes live. Perfect. I love it. They not so much. Then we have our negates. This is basically how we basically say, no, you're not allowed to activate this. No, you can't do that. We play 3, Fist of the Unrivaled Heavenly. This does 2 things. First off, if we control a non-effect monster, which once again, the token and our level 4 beater counts both of them as a non-effect monster. This makes it live, and the token makes it live. When your opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect, we can negate the activation. It doesn't destroy it though. It doesn't negate and destroy. It just negates the activation. So if it's a monster, it's still going to stay on the field. It's not going to pop it. But at least it's going to stop your opponent from doing things. And the second effect this thing does is that if your opponent is fool enough to pop it, you get to special summon any non-effect monster from your extra deck, which is pretty awesome. And we have 2 targets for that, and we'll get into that later. So if your opponent pops it, we get to put summon an non-effect monster, which is pretty cool. Our next negation, Champion's Vigilance. This is like our judgment for the deck. So it says if we control level 7 or higher normal monster, when a monster would be summoned or a spell or trap card is activated, negate the summon or activation and destroy the card. Our token is a level 8 normal monster. So it makes it live, which is once again another reason why we need to have that field spell from the very beginning. It makes our traps become hand traps, and it makes Vigilance live. So we need, shout out to the common. So we need this to be live. It's very, very helpful. So once again, we get things like battle, we're popping cards. We get Fist of the Unrivaled Heavenly, we're negating activations, we're popping cards with Vigilance. This is like how this deck works. Really annoying for them. So And for our last trap, and this is the most important trap card in the deck, we play Sea Stealth Attack. This is such an amazing card, incredible. Not only that, but I mean the art is badass. I mean it's got my dog Legendary Fisherman on it. Shout out to Legendary Fisherman, even though RIP, never become anywhere near playable. Anyways, so this does three things. The first thing is when we activate this, we get to activate. When we activate this, we can activate a Umi from our hand or graveyard. So if our opponent pops our Pacifis and sends to the graveyard, and this is set, I can activate this and activate it just like that. Because remember, this counts as Umi. So that's one thing that Sea Stealth does. The other two are even better. One, it says once per turn, I can banish a water monster I control until the end phase. All my faced up spell and trap cards I control cannot be destroyed by card effects. That is incredible. And including himself. It protects himself. So that's why I said this is important. This needs to be a water. So this is your target for this. So you have your Pacifist, your Sea Stealth. Because remember, Sea Stealth only is active if Umi's on the field. The two effects on the bottom, they don't work if Umi's not there. So we have to have Umi. The Umi, we have Sea Stealth. So our opponent activates Twin Twisters, right? Trying to pop all our stuff. I don't think so. Not today. Maybe tomorrow. Try tomorrow. You can try tomorrow. But not today, though. I don't think not today. So we activate Sea Stealth. We chain to it. We banish Megalo. And just like that, all our face-up spell and traps are saved. So our skill drain, there can only be one. Anything face-up gets to stay on the field and protect it for the turn, which is pretty sweet. And the next thing, the last thing that makes this thing so incredible. Its effect, which makes this deck so deadly and the token so deadly, is that it says at the start of the damage step, if your water monster whose original level is 5 or higher battles an opponent's monster, destroy the opponent's monster. So it means our token, remember our token is a level 8 water worm. It counts for that criteria. Unfortunately, Megalo doesn't. Level 4, has to be level 5. But our token does. That's what makes our token so deadly with Sea Stealth. Because our token, let me show you guys my token real quick. I'm gonna show you guys my token. Alright, let me review my token. I have 2 tokens. Bam. Mr. Ma'am. My friends know Mr. Ma'am. They don't like Mr. Ma'am. I like Mr. Ma'am. I accept him for who he is. I like him. Pisses people off. I like it. So, when Mr. Ma'am attacks as a level 8 water, right at the start of the damage step, whether he's attacked or he attacks, it instantly just destroys him. Just like that. Destroys it. So no damage calculation, it just destroys it straight up. So I don't care if you're facing an ultimate Blue Eyes with 4500 attack. You swing into this 2k beater, you're dead. Instantly destroys. And that's what makes this deck so annoying. Because you have to pop Sea Stealth in order to prevent that effect from going through. And guess what? If they try into a Twister or MST, I just banish Megalo. I can banish the token if I wanted to. I'm going to show you something after this profile, how Pacifist works and how annoying it is and how it just keeps generating tokens. So this is how it works. Typically, I swing with the token, destroy whatever gigantic beater they have, and then after that's destroyed, I attack directly for 2k. And that's basically how the deck works. It's just simply negating and stopping your opponent's actions and popping cards, and then swinging with your token and your Megalo. And typically, you'll just have these 2 on the field, and that's all you're really doing. And of course, and if you're able to get more, which I run 9 of these guys, you can bring out more. Now, if you got there can only be 1, you're only going to have 1 of these out. But still worth it because it hurts them bad. So that's it for the deck, the main deck. Let's leave out Mr. Man, make a presence. So let's go to the extra deck. Our extra deck, we don't really need an extra deck. We technically could go no extra deck if you want to, but it's worth running at least 2 cards in it. At least 2 cards. This is my second token, Kraken. Mr. Man's tired. I bring out the Kraken. So anyways, let me take a drink of water. Strong water. So, our extra deck. Remember, like I said, with Unrivaled Tenyi, if they pop this, we get to special summon a normal monster from the deck. We have two targets. We have Humanoid Worm Drake and Blue Eyes Ultimate. So Blue Eyes is self-explanatory. He's a gigantic 4,500 beater. So your buddy's MST basically just made me bring out a gigantic 4,500 beater, the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. I get special summon it, which is awesome. Worm Drake is another target. Why? Because he is above a level 5, and guess what? It activates Sea Stealth. So if you have Sea Stealth on the field and they pop Fist and Pacifis is there, I'm not going to go for Ultimate. I'd rather not, because he's a light, he's not a water. If I get out Worm Drake, I'm guaranteed to run over anything with Sea Stealth. So it depends on your game state. I like to play a little safer, so I would go with Worm Drake if Sea Stealth is there. If not, if I just don't have any of these two available, I'm going Blue Eyes. And I'm going to swing the fudge out of your monster with a 4,500 beater, which took you absolutely nothing to make. Nothing. So that's our targets for that. On to the other cards. Other cards are just generic rank 4s. Because remember, Megalo is level 4. And it's easy. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could easily just use Unexpected Die, special summon him while you have nothing on the field, and then you can use a Fossil Dig, or you can just, if you draw hard, draw him, bring another one, and you can easily go into rank 4. So if you know, like, Abyss Dweller is going to shut down your opponent's deck big time, go ahead and Abyss Dweller if you want to. But remember, we thrive on non-effect monsters and normal monsters, so, your choice. For the other one, rank 4s, you just play your basic, whatever rank 4s you like, your favorite rank 4s. You just play whatever your rank 4s are going to be. Whatever you want, you play them. These are my just generic ones, Saturn Monarch. I mean, these are just very generic, level rank 4s. At least Ragnar Zero still makes Sea Stealth live. Not for the battle, because remember, it's level 5, this is a rank, and regardless, it's a 4, so you can't even do it anyways. But at least I can still banish a water monster, right? And then bring him back to protect my face-up spawn traps. I'm just saying, it's an option, alright? I'm just saying, alright? I'm just saying. On to the links, we play Get Out of My Fist. Link Rebo, just in case our opponent brings a token on our field, it's just... Shout out to the comments. So, it's just worth having, like I said, we don't need an extra deck, we really don't, so it's really whatever you want to put in there. Barricade, we just need 2 monsters with different names. Well, like I said, if your opponent gives you a token, you don't want token, gives you a monster, you don't want it, you go into the blocker, and go into the Smasher. I mean, technically, you could use this effect, get your field spell in your hand at the end of the turn, it's worth it. And then Lamphorus and Gaia, they just require 2 monsters, 2+ monsters. It really just to get rid of, and remember, they're normal, so they make Spiral Battle live. They make Fist live. So they're worth having, just in case if you want something with 2600 attack, and like I said, your opponent gives you something you don't want. I mean, link them away, because effect monster you don't want. For example, Kaijus, right? I thought opponents Kaiju me, I'm like, okay, no problem. All right, I'll just link them away, and they will still be live. They're set, So, and that's it. That's basically the deck. Let me talk to you real quick about how this field spell works, because you'll get into a lot of ruling debates on how this works. So this is what this does. This is what the token does. This is what this field spell does. Alright, so it says you can't normal special summon effect monsters. Their turn you activate either of the following effects. Alright, so the first thing it does is that every time you normal summon or special summon a non-effect monster, a normal monster I meant, which is our Megalo, or our token, Mr. Ma'am. Whenever you normal or special any of these two, you get to search for a spiral card. That's going to be our battle and our power. So if I turn 1, activate, right? Then I normal, Pacifist activates, then I get to search for spiral. This is one of the ways we keep getting negations to our hand. And like I said, it depends on the matchup. So if you're about to face heroes, maybe negate an effect and reduce attack. It's up to you. Because you can pop cards and heroes and they'll still come back. And negate, and right timing. It works, I guess. So that's the first thing it does, right? The token counts too. So if your opponent activates a card effect and you get a token out, you technically special summon a normal monster. So you get to search for a battle or a power. So, and this is once per turn. So on your turn, you normal, then you get this to your hand, right? And then your opponent activates a card effect, you get a token, then you get to bring it to your hand, right? So +2, just like that. So the second effect. Once per turn. Hold on. It says, if your opponent activates a card or effect, except during a damage step, and you control no tokens, you can special a Phantasm Spiral token. So that basically means that if your opponent basically does anything, remember it says if your opponent activates a card or effect. So if they normal, right, and they activate effect, at the end of the resolution, this will trigger, and you get a token. Why? That seems simple so far, right? So, oh, by the way, that's not once per turn. That's not once per turn. You get that token generation is not once per turn. So, for example, if you have Pacifis, right, and your opponent activates Upstart Goblin, cool. They activate a card effect, you get a token. Then they activate Dark Hole, right? Destroys the token. Pacifis says that, did an effect happen? And I'll go, yeah, he did Dark Hole. Do you got a token? I don't have a token. Have a token. Not once per turn. Not even soft. So then your opponent goes, what the hell? How did my Dark Hole not work? Okay. Raigeki. Okay, Raigeki. Destroyed. Pacifist goes again. It activates. It says, did your opponent activate card effect? Yes, it did. You got a token? Nope. Have a token. It happens every single time at the end of the resolution. It activates at the end of the resolution. You will keep getting a token over and over again. If you swing and they have a mirror force, right? That mirror force, and you destroy your attacking monsters, Mr. Man gets destroyed. Pacifist triggers and activates and says, do you got a token? I go, no. Did they activate a card effect? Did they activate a card or effect? Yes, they did. Add mirror force. You get it back. Then they activate drowning mirror force. Remember, tokens can't be flipped face down defense, and they can't be returned to the deck. So if you try to do that to either token, then it goes away. It just goes away. Then Pacifist triggers again, and you get another token. It will keep coming back. Always comes back. Always, unless it's during the damage step. Then you can't. One last thing. So let's just say you don't have Sea Stealth protect your Pacifist, right? Or anything. Let's just say you have there can only be one. And let's just say this is your board. This said, actually no, that's not gonna matter. We'll go here. Right, let's say this. This is your board. Your opponent activates MST, all right, or Exciton, or anything, right? Destroy anything, right? You can chain Sea Stealth even if you don't have Megalo. Let's say remember you don't have Megalo. If your opponent activates, let's just say Exciton, Evil Swarm Exciton, or activates, let's just say MST, right? And wants to pop any of our cards, right? Our back row. We can activate Sea Stealth, right? We can banish the token. Remember, tokens can't get banished, so it goes away. It disappears. So your opponent activates, I don't know, Exciton, right? It detach material, tries to wipe out the whole field. You go, okay, no problem. Chain Sea Stealth. You banish Mr. Man. Mr. Man goes away, right? Now everyone's protected, right? Then, remember, Pacifist will ask all over again, hey, did your opponent activate card effect? Yeah, he did. Okay. You got a token? No. Here's a token. It will come right back. It comes back every time. So that's the annoying thing about Pacifist. And it's an if effect, so it'll never miss timing. It never will. It won't. And the token is treated as level 8 Water Worm, 2k attack, 2k defense. So without Sea Spell, the token and Megalo aren't very threatening, but the cards around them is what make them live, because we thrive off of normal monsters. So that's basically the deck. That's it. So have fun playing it. Enjoy playing it. And oh, just another little thing is, I play also 2 power and the side deck. I play more in the side deck, of course, but I just want to share. Just make sure that if you don't main 3 of the powers, at least side them, because you never know if your opponent isn't playing heavy monsters, then maybe it's worth siding in the 2 and going with 3 spiral powers. Like if your opponent isn't using graveyards, take out Dimensional Fissure, take out Microcosmos, and then go with 3 powers. So, and that's basically it. That's the end of the video. Hope you like it. Enjoy. That's it. Have fun. Stay casual.